Okay, I think this might be happening. Is it happening? Ah, I think it is. I think it's happening. Okay. Hello. I'm Jane Frizzell, and this is Office Hours. I operate a training program that I call Basic Military Writing. I am the person, and it is the program that has codified and put into modern, this day and age media, the instructions from the armies of the world, which is the classical information. So the term classical was hijacked, and for many other several reasons, I decided to be even more classical. Because actually the classical guys, a couple of them actually said that the classical writing was basic military writing. Anyway, it is the writing that works, and I do not know, I think, Anya Barron and the Verndals and Ingrid Klimka, but other than that, I don't know anywhere else that it is being taught online. And one thing that makes this program unique is it really spells it out, like what to do, what must happen. A close example would be, is this really working? Would be Harry Bolt's book that has the very specific symbols for the weight of the seat, the leg, and the hand. Butts, boots, gloves, and shows the specific aids for everything from walk to halt. I mean, halt to walk through the Grand Prix, because this is what is absent in this horse world right now. Because what happened is that a lot of horse people who weren't trained mastered the media, but they had not yet mastered or even been trained in the riding. So that's why there's a mess. I know I'm a realistic, normal person. I know that I can't correct the whole mess, but this program are for those of you who don't want to be in the mess, who want to ride straight forward, straight, either way. That would be a debate whether you straighten before you ride forward, or you ride forward before you straighten, or whether you say one before the other. One example that I could cite just for amusement is that Steinbrecht, Warendorf, you said the quote as, "Ride your horse forward and set it straight." And Colonel Podhajsky in Vienna said, "Set your horse straight and ride it forward." And the French, General Lotte, L'Hotte, in case my pronunciation is erroneous, is very known. I don't think he coined it, but he's very known for calm, forward, straight. So those are, those are three primary military institutions, all saying the same thing. And that's what we are about here. We are about straightforward, straight riding by the four natural aids that can only be delivered by a rider whose seat is loose and plumb with a straight line elbow to bit. Okay, now that I've summarized that, the topic most recently has been a subject that all of the masters say frequently, that they constantly, frequently reference and remind us to be considering. And that is I guess that's a doctrine, combined effects. We don't combine the natural aids and the riding actions. Instead, we combine their effects. So you can go back and review the last several weeks. There's also some training sessions where this is discussed that will be, some of them have been posted. You'll have to figure out what playlists they're in, and others are going to be upcoming. There are unlisted videos in some of the playlists, and I plan to do that more. Anyway, combined effects has been a subject, and you need to be very familiar with it. And it's a little bit of a tell that we can tell who is a trained rider if they understand and train and ride the doctrine of combined effects. So really, we could also say that the doctrine is also very much in favor of or requiring the other idea of independent aids and an independent seat. And this also goes to throughness, because the idea is that a single aid has the exact intended effect when the language between rider and horse is calibrated properly. And only when the single actions and single aids are going through, that means heard, acknowledged, understood, and executed happily and loosely. Only when those single aids are going through can there then be a combined effect of single aids going through. And that's why, like a greener horse, it's more simple. We're doing very simple things. Go, turn, stop. Opening rein is turn. That's how they learn circles. So it keeps going this way. Anyway, I'm kind of getting off the track of single aid riding. And by most, I'm including national teams. I'm talking very high level, people competing at very high levels still have this all scrambled up. The very best ones do not. That in order for the more complex movements to function, to be imparted to the horse and rider must have very clear, simple foundation communication. So the single aids are all functioning exactly well. Now, the four natural aids are, there's four natural aids. There's the voice is the first, and then the aids that are felt are a little bit separate from voice. The voice and sounds that are heard, and the aids that are felt are the weight of the seat, the leg, and the hand. But the voice and sound that's actually the horse's first the horse's first experience with a human is sound. He hears the farmer's voice when he comes out of his mommy and he's still lying in the straw. He hears the farmer's voice. And his first lessons are from voice. And then later, the touch of the human. And then later, when he's old enough and big enough to be sat upon, the weight of the rider. And then the feeling of the rider's leg at his girth. And then when his education is really begun and he's been prepared by learning about his tack and the meaning of his bits through the direct and lateral flexions, Then when he's being ridden very early on in the first few days, he learns, he doesn't know it's hand, but he remembers the bit from his nursery school with Phyllis. Go, oh, it goes this way. That means I do this. Oh, I follow, and I'm going. So he's following his bit. You see how that works? And he also learned it on the lunge line. The bit is going in advance of him, drawing him forward. That's his leading rein. Anyway, I'm giving you guys a little review of these natural aids, but I do want to bring up that the voice is a very frequently abandoned, very useful aid. And I also want to say this is important, that, oh, I want to show you guys my sweater. Isn't it beautiful? My friend Susan Rubin in Wellington gave it to me. Now I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Oh, here's what I want to tell you. So what I make my horses, I make every aid so good that I could ride the horse with only the single aid. So if I put my horse on a circle and then I just tell him stuff with my mouth, like walk, trot, whoa, walk, trot, canter, canter on, ho, trot, like I could ride the horse only off my voice, like being like lunging myself. I could also ride a horse around with only one rein. I could also ride a horse around with only my seat. And I test myself. I take my thighs up off the saddle and just ride around on my seat, on my base of support. And if I keep my legs off the saddle and I ride around with my base of support and I keep my reins the proper length, I should be able to do most anything, right? Flying changes? Why not? So this is how you have to start thinking, that you have to make each single aid work really, really well. Because then you start to have, the major said, he is an instrument that, and we are instruments, that we have to have each action be beautifully trained to, like, that you pluck the string and you get the right note, and then you can combine the notes. Okay, I think that was probably a pretty good parable. But like, here's an example. It was a horse that had actually been to an Olympic Games. Very well-trained horse from Germany. The horse was very smart, and he would just not do 15 ones for the new owner. He wouldn't do it. He'd go 13, 14, not doing another. And he knew he was blowing his tests. And this woman couldn't get her gold medal. So this is a horse that he's ignoring. He's ignoring the leg and the seat. But he's smarter than everyone. She just went to many trainers, also Olympians. Couldn't make this horse do it. He wouldn't do 15 ones. So Major Lindgren taught me, I learned a few very simple things. If he ignores you, if he ignores your leg, make him listen to it with a turn on the forehand. So, wonderful horse. I love this horse. Such a dick to this woman. He quits at the 13th change, or the 14th. I can't remember which one he quit on. And so I said, okay, make him halt right there on that diagonal line. Now, make him respect your left leg. Yeah, it was going on the left diagonal, and he had to do 2 more changes, I think. and he would quit on that one to the right. And so halted. And then I said, make him just spin him around, turn on the forehand from your left leg at the girth, attack it, but make him stay on the spot with his forehand. And she did that. And I think she did something like 30 changes after that. And that's as simple as it was. Like it wasn't a $900 clinic weekend solution. It was a leg at the girth, make him pay attention to it. So that is that is why that's a good example of why getting your aids calibrated and operating properly. I hope that's a good sell and that makes you want to do it. But it also matters for a youngster that everything, think of it, another way I think of it is, okay, so you set a table, you know, forks, knives, you get the very simple version going. But then you learn about the dessert spoon and the salad fork. So then there's like a little bit more complicated table setting, but it's still basically the table setting. And that's a little bit how you can think of the aids and how they should be. And make sure that you're, you know, the silverware, you wipe it before you put it down, no fingerprints on it, and it's in the right place and it's lined up properly, and then things will be good. And so training is a little more like that than people want it to be. They want it to be a little more metaphysical or something, but it isn't. They're horses. Now it gets very, when, you know, you can hear beautiful music, but if the instruments are out of tune, it's a farce. And so, yes, there is all this beauty and harmony that comes from great riding, but it has to have the great table setting first. Like you can't ride well if this basic stuff that people don't want to face isn't squared away. All right. Oh my God, I've been talking a long time. I'm going to go to the screen share now, and what you're going to see is it's a horse that had been well trained in his beginning and then imported and then jammed together for a year and a half. So he never used his hind end. So he's very weak. It's about day 10 with me. I knew he was a great, very easy, simple, soft, good horse. And all I did to start to renew him was renew the voice aid so that I could ride him off my voice so he wouldn't experience any muscle or reins going backwards. So because that's what had betrayed him. That's what put him in a double bind that he couldn't proceed from. So what you're going to see over and over, and it's only a 4-second clip, so you're going to have to look hard, and it's not going to be like fun to watch. You have to pay attention. You're going to see I'm walking, and this is the first trot of the day, by the way. This isn't like I'm going to coax him into it. This is how he does things now. You'll see me go loose. You'll see me looking where I'm going, go out in the future, not down there. Like we're going there. We're going to finish this curving line and go over the yonder. You're going to see me very clearly prove to him that the handbrake is off because he had been very betrayed by that. Then I say the word trot, and you are going to see his ass boogie. And then I say good boy. So that's 6 things. I'm loose, I'm looking ahead, hand brakes off, I say the word trot, he fucking goes, and I say good. All right, here we go. Hopefully it'll work. I don't know. These screen shares are a little iffy, I think. Oh no, I think it's this. This is what I want to share. Oh, I think it might work. Oh, I hope so. Okay. All right. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Will that still work? Am I still there? I don't know. How do I hope this is working. I'm just going to start playing it. Let's see. So watch me loose, watch me look, watch me give the reins, watch me say, now watch his butt. Watch his butt. You only get a little view. Soon it's going to go slow. Let me go to that. Watch his butt. Can you see the effort in his ass? That is not from any effort from me. It's his response to the single word trot. And I only said it one time. And this is the first trot of the day. And good boy, he's such a good boy. This is what's important. So when he learns, or when he feels confident to commit himself again like this, then the voice aid can taper away again. And I can just open my feet and ride forward, and I will get the same response because of the law of association of sensations. But we need to have each of the single aids going through in order to be able to advance the language between the horse and the rider. So let's just watch each element here. I'm going really loose. I'm looking where I'm going, turning my head, just gave the reins, said trot. He freaking goes. Like I had to keep up or I would have got left behind, like when people get left behind over a jump. And that's how a simple transition must feel. They have to commit. They have to be able to commit. And that, okay, like, I want to go. And he's going to go, are you sure you really want to go? Because if I really go, are you going to be there? You have to be ready as a rider to keep up. Keep the rider always keeps his upper body over the base of support. And a really risky time where people get caught behind and make a horse like this shut down is, for example, in a canter trot transition. So the trot's going to be big after that, and you've got to ride it forward. All these girls that are behind the vertical, it makes me want to just, it makes me so sad. Because no one starts riding wanting to be mediocre. Okay, so just he hears it and he does it. That's the message today. And I'm going to put, you can put those cards, YouTube cards. There's a video of him completing this rest of his warm-up, so you can see how he goes. You'll see he's not fit. This horse hadn't used his hind end in a year and a half. I think I'd had him about a week and a half at this point. Certainly wasn't day one because nothing was happening. But that's what's important, is to get, I'm going to stop the screenshot. That's what is important for combined effects, is that the single aids go through. And remember what throughness is. It's conductivity. It's that the system is conductive so that a single thing can occur without affecting the rest of the system. And that's what we just saw. from a single thing, one word I said, the word trot, his hind end went. And that's all that happened. It wasn't bumpy. It wasn't anything. There was no other reaction anywhere. It was just